This individual, who has never had a vote confirming his work in government cast anywhere, is gallivanting around the world and potentially making deals that can have major impact on the lives of all Americans. There needs to be some level of accountability, and this hearing, that was the step to do this. Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing well. Like every week, here with an update on what's happened in Washington, D.C. We're going to talk about Brightline, talk about a hearing with the former Secretary of State, Senator, presidential nominee, and current special presidential envoy for climate, John Kerry. That's a lot. And the debate surrounding the annual National Defense Authorization Act. Let's get started with all of it. First up, Brightline. On June 21, the United States Coast Guard began what's known as a test deviation, or a test schedule, right? Or at least they said they were going to begin a test schedule over the St. Lucie waterway, when they're going to close the train bridge, when they're going to open the train bridge. Here's what was supposed to happen. There was supposed to be a bridge tender present at all times. The bridge was supposed to be open at 15 and 45 minutes past the hour, but that's not what's happening. It has been 2 weeks since the testing period began. But here's the problem. It doesn't seem like the schedule is actually being used. Florida East Coast Rail, FEC, their freight trains are attempting to comply with the schedule, but if the trains are approaching the train bridge when the bridge is supposed to be open for boats, the Coast Guard has literally told the Florida East Coast Rail, do not stop the trains. Florida East Coast Rail, they're the ones that actually operate. They pull the lever to make the train bridge go down or go back up. And the Coast Guard said, do not stop the trains. On top of that, there is not a tender at the bridge like there is supposed to be manning the bridge. There will probably be one in the future, but there's not yet a tender physically at the bridge. Now, meanwhile, Brightline has pushed back the start date of their passenger train service going up to Orlando to begin maybe sometime late in August or even into September. And the public comment period for that test deviation, it ends in August. So why does all of this matter? The public comment period for the test schedule, which is our community's opportunity to weigh in, goes from now until August 4th. But it's hard to weigh in on something that doesn't actually reflect the reality of what will happen to the Treasure Coast. It's not reflecting right now actually opening the train bridge at 15 and 45 minutes past the hour. It's not reflecting having close to 50 trains or more an hour go through the Treasure Coast over a single track bridge. None of that is being reflected. So one of my top priorities now is to make sure that the Coast Guard extends that public comment period. But if you have an opinion, and you want to share that opinion, you can go to mast.house.gov/brightline-public-comment. So go back and review that on the tape if you need to hear that again. I'm sure there will be many more updates on this in the days and weeks to come, so stay tuned on that. Switching gears, the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Oversight and Accountability held an important hearing this week with John Kerry. Now, you may know him as the senator from Massachusetts or the 2004 Democrat nominee for president or Secretary of State. These days, he's got a different job. He's the first ever special presidential envoy for climate, or the SPEC. So it's hard to say exactly what his job description is because, well, it's not written anywhere. As we learned in this hearing, Special Envoy Kerry seems to be traveling all over the world, including to King Charles' coronation and to the Crown Prince of Jordan's wedding. But it's not clear who he actually reports to or what authority he thinks he has to negotiate or sign on to treaties or agreements on behalf of the United States. His office has ignored or slow-rolled multiple congressional requests for information, as well as 2 FOIA requests. The office doesn't have a website. They don't have a landing page. He has not been confirmed by the Senate. He hasn't answered questions for the Senate. That's government overreach at its worst. And he's out globetrotting, signing the United States of America onto decades-long deals. This individual, who has never had a vote confirming his work in government cast anywhere, is gallivanting around the world and potentially making deals that can have major impact on the lives of all Americans. There needs to be some level of accountability, and this hearing, that was the step to do this. Now, finally, on the House floor this week, We debated the 2023 National Defense Authorization Act. This is a huge bill that authorizes all spending for the United States military for the entire year. Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard possibly in this. There is also a Coast Guard authorization bill, and Space Force. This is a great opportunity to pull back the curtain and talk a little bit about the legislative process. Now, obviously, this bill is crucial for military readiness, our national security. It's crucial for making sure there's not woke ideology in the military, that we're defunding them doing drag shows on Air Forces or Navy bases, to make sure that those things never happen in the United States military again, to make sure that people aren't getting trained to say that there's white rage going on out there that West Point cadets need to get trained on how to deal with. These things have no place in the military. It's not about readiness. It's about indoctrination. Now, this year, the process was different. Thanks to House Republicans and Speaker McCarthy's commitment to creating a government that's accountable to the people and allowing legislators to actually legislate, rank and file representatives were more involved in the process, more involved than ever. Not just the leadership or those who sit on the Armed Services Committee, but everyone. In fact, members filed, I said, over 1,000, over 1,500 amendments. Now, some of them were not germane to the National Defense Authorization Act. In other words, they didn't actually apply to the NDAA, so they were not given a vote on the House floor. Hundreds of them were debated and voted on this week. That's the way representative democracy is supposed to work. Every member should stand on the floor and vote up or down on behalf of their constituents. So while some may be frustrated that our work here in Congress is taking longer than it has in years past, I think it's worthwhile to make sure that we're living up to the responsibilities the Founding Fathers left to each and every one of us. In that, I hope that you all have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you all around home. I hope that you're having a great summer. If you decide to come up to Washington throughout the summer or in the fall or beyond, make sure you call the office. Let us know so I can take you on a tour of the Capitol. Or if I'm in a hearing or a meeting, one of my staff can take you on a tour of the Capitol. We can tell you what we love about this place, tell you stories about this place, tell you about the best places to eat, you name it. Make sure you call the office if you're coming up here, or find an opportunity to come through the Capitol. It's your country, it's your capital, and for all the problems that we have in this country, no other capital, no other country, no other government, military, anything that I would rather be a part of than our country right here. In that, you all take care. Hey everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe. I will be back on YouTube with more exclusive content, so stay tuned.